Hey there, my name is Elena. I'm a website investing specialist at Niche Website Builders, and today I'm going to be walking you through an H domain that we recently got picked up. Right, so this domain is called cottagemysteries.com. It's a DR12 site, and it has had a bit of history. It's a 5-year-old site. And yeah, I'm just basically going to go through our discoveries, competitors, strategy, the backlinks, the anchor text. So yeah, just keep watching. So the first thing I would like to check and show you is the anchor text profile. Now, after I have filtered highest to lowest referring domains in the anchor text, the first thing that immediately I can see is that the top anchor texts are branded. And this is something you need to have for a natural looking anchor text profile. It just looks natural, it looks clean. Going down, it just looks relevant to the site. The site was about tea and some recipes. So as you can see, we've got orange and cranberries, zucchini bread, which is relevant, strawberries and cream pillow, tea summer afternoon, just very, very, very things you kind of expect in a clean, anchor text profile. So I'm happy with this. And going to the referring domains. Now, obviously, this domain is quite small. It has a DR of 12, so the backlink profile wouldn't be anything super, super exciting, but we've got a link from Pinterest and we've got a link from HuffPost. These are two pretty great sites. So even just with these two links, I'm happy of this backlink profile, considering the domain rating is only 12. So I'm happy with this. Obviously, I run the backlinks in terms of relevancy on SEMrush, and SEMrush is showing me relevance. So hobbies and leisure, home and garden. You will see why this is here, and you'll see why the books and literature is here as well in a minute after I show you some snippets from the Wayback Machine. But quite a bit is relevant. But food and drink, obviously tea, and the food comes from the recipes. So you will see now what I'm trying to say. So I picked up a couple of snippets. And the first thing I'd like to point out is that this site had some sort of award from Huffington Post. Now, I guess this is basically how this domain obtained the link from Huffington Post, and these guys were pretty proud, and they put this on their site that they got this award. Now, as you can see, this is what the site basically looked like. It was about tea, sticking up tea the right way, and types of teas, and all that sort of thing. But I'm going to break down each category so you have a better understanding. So on the tea category, you will see that it has a different basically subjects on tea. Tea bags versus loose tea, which is better. Valentine's Day, tea party, rejuvenate with green tea, rejuvenate with green tea, tea bags, yeah. So basically any sort of content that's about relevant to tea. Informational content, which is great. This is something we'll be obviously covering. Now going to the nibbles. Nibbles also means snacks. So when I was looking through these recipes, all of them were basically recipes that could go with your tea. So this was loads and loads and loads of recipes. So this is quite interesting. This is basically scone. In the UK, a scone is basically a kind of like a sweet biscuit. I'm not sure how it is in the US, but in the UK, scones are extremely popular, and they're eaten with freshly brewed tea. Yeah, so loads of recipes that could go with your cup of tea. And then we've got the home and garden. Now, with home and garden, this was slightly different. It was a mixture of kind of like DIY stuff going on. Some of them were related to tea, others not so much. For example, this is quite cool. New uses for old tea tins, and kind of stuff going on like Mother's Day gift ideas. Typically in the UK, it's very common that when you go out for Mother's Day, you take your mom to a tea shop or like a tea room and kind of like treat her with an afternoon tea, cake, and a sandwich and tea. So I'm guessing this is where this is coming from. So yeah, this is basically what this section covered. Loads of a bit of crafting. I think there's definitely something we could do with this. You may need to be a bit creative, but we could definitely use this. And with mysteries, basically, when I look through each one of those, basically, the owner of this site went out, had a cup of tea with some of the authors of some books. Now, I'm not exactly sure exactly how we could use this or like keep this as a section, grow it. But staying till the end because I've got something I want to show you that we could potentially do in terms of reading, in terms of books. So yeah, I've got an idea about this. Now, in terms of the strategy, informational articles on the types of tea, ways of making it, etc. Now, with the types of tea, there's black tea, green tea, then ways of making it, how do you make green tea, how do you eat, how do you drink green tea. Obviously, with green tea, there is a way and kind of like things you need to buy to make it, powders and brewing it. There's a whole lot of science. I don't drink green tea much, but there is a science behind green tea and the types of green tea and all that sort of thing. So there's loads that can be talked about tea. So basically, this will fall into the tea category here, and this I was thinking would fall into this category, home and garden, essentially, because as you can see, loads of DIY stuff. Articles and DIY tea and craft ideas. When I was looking into this, I saw some people out there were making like homemade teacups, decorating teacups. There's so much that could be done. Also, like setups, like you're hosting an afternoon tea party, you kind of want to decorate the room or just do it something fancy. There is things that could be done. So this was kind of my idea behind this. Now, obviously, the domain covered recipes, particularly recipes that will go well with your tea. And this is something that we could definitely do. Maybe we could write informational pieces of content on like how to pair your tea, what food goes well with your tea, things you should make that go well with your tea, what should you serve on an afternoon, tea party. Loads we could do. Informational articles on how to tea parties and set up host tea parties. So I checked about how to host tea parties. There's things that people are covering. So there's definitely something we could talk about. So how to set up tea party. We could include recipes. We could include loads and loads. Now, in terms of the recipes part of the domain, obviously, if you're someone who just kind of wants to get the site because you like the idea, you are excited about talking about tea, but you don't want to go out there and start baking all the stuff that are going to go with the tea. You're not a baker. You don't want to go and do that and take pictures. So what we could do is create listicle types of articles describing the best recipes to make to pair with your tea. For example, we could do something like 10 best cookies to go with your tea. Then we're going to link the recipes in there, and we can write for that as well. Now, the monetization can come from, obviously, of course, display adverts. We can also monetize through teacup sets to go with your tea party. We can sell specialty teas and just so much more. There is just so much more. But stay until the end because I have something to show you in terms of this, so you can have a better understanding of how we can monetize. Now, the first competitor that I would like to show you is Afternoon Tea Reads. It's a DR24, higher DR than our site. That's fine. It's not that great of a difference. Now, this site is generating pretty good traffic. Fun fact, SEMrush shows much more traffic than Ahrefs. So that's why I've got Ahrefs open here. And as you can see, it's a nice and beautifully nice chart. The domain is growing, and it has a whopping 65,000, visits per month. According to SEMrush, it's a fact that SEMrush normally shows a lot less than what the reality actually is. If you check this site using Google Analytics or Search Console, the actual number is a lot higher. Why does the traffic matter? Well, if this site is absolutely killing it and making this amount of traffic means money. The way to monetize is through traffic, and the whole purpose of websites is to get traffic. And if this site is generating 65,000 according to SEMrush per month, that means this site is making bank. depending on their monetization methods, of course. But if we want to, basically our goal is to get to this stage. This is a competitor, it's killing it, it's doing well, generating a great amount of traffic. We want to be this site. Our goal is to be this site. So that's the reason why we have kind of shown you this site and shown you the traffic. And the importance of traffic is traffic equals money. You get traffic, you get money. Simple. Yeah, so the domain is DR24, great traffic. Some are showing more. And now I would like to show you the top performing pages of this domain. Now, as you can see, it's purely about tea, which is exactly like, it's just a perfect example because it shows exactly what, cottagemysteries.com is about, tea, really. And this site is about tea. So this is a perfectly great example of what can be achieved in the space of tea, even though this site doesn't have a very high authority. Now, let's take a look. So benefits, risk, excuse tea. Sorry if I'm not spelling this correctly. And there's just very informational articles about tea, something we're going to tomb rate. So tomb rating is basically take their top ranking content, you make it better, and you outrank them. Now, this is a really, really good example. This site is doing really, really well. This is a site where we definitely kind of want to be. And it's worth noting that they only have like 246 pages. So that's all they have. And they're generating 65,000 per month. Great, isn't it? Let me just check how much. Right, so as you can see, the domain is like, well, just over 2 years old. Our domain is 5 years old. Just, you could do the maths. Like, this site is fairly young, I would say, and is doing so well. Our site is longer, it's been into the internet longer, has gained authority, has gained trust of Google. So our chances of ranking just as well as this site are very high. Now, the second example is this site. It's quite higher DR than the tcottagemysteries.com, but there is something I wanted to show you about this site. Now, remember when I was talking about monetization, I wanted to show you this site. Now, these guys are obviously killing it. Like, according to the Ahrefs, they're making 1,606, just nearly 2,000K. Sorry, I'm absolutely brain blank. They're doing really well. Now, what I want to show you is how they monetize. It's very clean, as you can see. They have this section. Now, if you click on this section here, for example, it will take you to a page where you can buy stuff. Now, if you go back, I said something about, selling teacup sets, specialty teas and all that sort of thing. This site basically doing this. They're doing it in a very clean way. They have like a category, you can just pick and choose what you want to get. And the tea category is pretty much the same. You can select what you're looking for. Once you click on it, it gets you through a page where you can buy. Now, what's interesting about this site is if I go to their top pages, I want to show you something. If I go to their top pages, as you can see, it looks like their majority of their content is informational. But if I click on it, for example, let's click on, let's check out this one. I want to show you an example of what this site was doing. Right. Bestie for information, right? Look at how cheeky these guys are. Like, this looks like an informational piece of content, and it is. If you scroll down, you're going to get to a listicle type, top 12 anti-inflammatory teas. You're like, great. But if you hover over here and you open this, it basically takes you to a page where you can buy this. This is a very smart way. And this is something I was thinking we could do for the tcottagemysteries.com. It's very gentle way of trying to sell. It's not like making, kind of best of product, like best 12, anti-inflammatory teas. and down the line you get a Google penalty, right? Or you get hit by a Google algorithm update. This is a very smart way of doing it. And they basically just done this. It's informational with a mixture of commercial, if that makes sense. And they're doing really well. And these guys must be making loads of money. It's DR42. It's not that hard to achieve. It's going to take a bit of work, but we can get there. And with generating that much traffic and, you know, selling all these type of things, you know, there's a lot of money that can be made. And finally, going back to this section of the site, I wanted to talk to you about, remember when I said, I don't really know how we can utilize this, but I found this site, right? DR16, don't worry about the traffic. I'm not really interested in traffic. I just want to show you something. Now, this site talks about how to get back into reading and type of books, and talks about just things about reading books, right? It has 88 results, right? So 88 posts, nothing that much, you know. If I pop this domain on SEMrush, it's going to show me even more traffic. So 88 results generating this much traffic. Fairly new sites, taken up quite nicely here. But as I said, I don't really worry about it. I just want to kind of show you what we could potentially do if you feel like, I kind of want to get into the books and kind of reading space. This is something I would suggest to look at. Books like Little Women. Maybe there was a book about Little Women, whatever, some sort of a book, and you're like, okay, well, someone's read it, really likes it, wants to find some quite identical books to it. We put that in, and a lot of that can be achieved, I think, in this space. So it's something you could definitely look at and explore. But yeah, I think the main thing I want to show you basically is this domain really stood out to me the most, because this one is specifically focused on tea. It targets tea. It has a great amount of traffic. Let's go back, and it basically shows what can be achieved in the space. I do feel like the tea and beverage, specifically the tea and coffee space, is quite big, and there's loads and loads that can be achieved. Yeah, so this is pretty much for me. I do feel like this domain, although it doesn't have as much, you know, authority, or doesn't have like an amazing array of backlinks that are absolute beasts, this site is very promising. And if afternoonteareads.com is absolutely killing it, with only being 2.5 years old or so, then there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot that can be done. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and yeah, thank you.